Call the meeting to order. Roll call of aldermen.
Alderman Hazel. Here. Alderman Kinsella. Here. Alderman Pusa. Here. Alderman Bittner. Here. Alderman Randall. Here. Alderman Tyler. Here. Alderman Anthony. Here. Alderman Ovian. Alderman Silsby. Here. Alderman Dillman. Here. Alderman Seibert. Here. Alderman White. Here. Alderman Galletti. Here. Alderman Elmore. Here. Alderman Wigington. Alderman Musgrove.
Here. You never said that to us here, did he?
He's got to just run late.
Okay, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if Alderman Ovian slides in here or not. Roll call of department heads.
City Treasurer Hart.
Here.
City Attorney Horner. Police Chief Clay. Fire Chief Poor. Ken Vaughn. Royce Carlisle. Jamie Matrit. Tim Gregowitz. Jim Schneider. Leander Spearman. Anissa McCaskill. Chuck Schaefer. Debbie Belleville. Bob Sabo.
Okay, I think Leander might have contacted my office. I forget, and I know Mike Parks is here for Chuck. Did I get out? That's all of them? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you'd please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able. Okay, before we get going, just want to remind everybody that we're videotaping and audio taping the meeting, so please use your microphones. I want to also remind everybody, if you've never been here before, if we had a storm type of an emergency, the officers would guide you across the lobby to the stairs, across from the clerk's desk downstairs to what we deem is to be our storm shelter. And if we had to leave the building because of smoke or fire or some other type of emergency where decided we should evacuate the building, we'd ask you to carefully go out the front door, be careful crossing the street at the light, and please congregate in front of the county courthouse sign, the big sign, so that we could kind of look around and make sure that the people sitting next to you, you believe that they're all present. We'll start public participation in just one moment. When we call on you, wait till I call on you. Please step up to the microphone. Give your name. Please keep your comments to 2 to 3 minutes max. And please keep the comments pertinent to city business and preferably even current city business. So at this time, I will open public participation. Please note that Leander Spearman is here, and so is Alderman Ovian. So we got all accounted for. Anyone this evening? Gentleman in the blue shirt. Yeah, please come up to the microphone there.
My name is Tom Whitty, Whittey. I live at 1819 J Avenue in the 3rd Ward. My question revolves around vacant or uninhabited houses in my neighborhood. In the last couple of years, we've had within about, I'd say maybe from the corner to maybe 500-600 feet east of there are at least 3 houses that are empty. One of them has been accounted for. Those people had some issues financially, but 2 of them have been empty for at least a year to 2 years. One of them had a sign that said for sale. Suddenly it's disappeared. There's some construction going on in that area. The other sign, the other house is, I think it's 1812 J Avenue, has been empty for at least 2 to 3 years. They've tried to, on a couple of occasions, I think, rehab it. I've seen guys run around that building hacking and gagging. Apparently there are some dead animals in there. Recently there has been a condemned sign put on it. My question essentially involves, how long do these houses stay empty before this sort of thing is dealt with?
Well, here's what I would tell you, sir, without getting into a lengthy question and answer here tonight.
Sure.
Here's what I'd like. Have you ever spoke to Bob Sabo? Raise your hand. Bob is my director of housing. So I would suggest that maybe once we get going here, I don't know if you're going to stay for the whole meeting or not.
I will.
Okay, after the meeting, why don't you please try to talk to Mr. Sable? At least give him some specifics. He'll be able to tell you if he knows off the top of his head, if we're familiar with the status of those houses in court or whatever. We did have an enormous amount of foreclosures a few years ago. That's slowly getting better. But he can tell you, sometimes we have elderly go into homes, but the people haven't sold, or sometimes they walk away from care. But let him talk to you, and if he's not familiar with those particular addresses, then I can assure you they'll get on them and start to investigate it immediately.
I have no issue with that at all, sir. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time.
Okay, thank you very much. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Lillian Schneider, 219 Kansas. The Shield Street development. Is the city still searching for Shield Street development? The Shrine project sounds like this project. Shield Street development, just how many parcels were taken off the tax roll? How much money spent for purchasing and demolition and studies of this project? Yet nothing there. Also, while this was going on, there were two developments in the newspaper articles that I have on 6/3/2003. Article approved development agreements with Kelly Limo for moving from Millstadt to North Belt West, and Roger Wigington to remodel an office building on 6897 West Main. The Shrine project needs to stop asking for more money, as stated in print. I voted no on the Shrine project and the fire chief and the playground equipment at Bicentennial Park. I will be sending this information on this about the fire chief, as they were laughing the night before the big press conference, to my homeowner's insurance company to protect me if there is any retaliation like voting no. And in case of a fire, will the fire chief be honest and upfront? The Shrine project. The state is broke, no budget. Alderman, you want roads fixed, housing violations fixed? Stop voting to give away any more money to the Shrine development. Mayor states we could get, and it's in the paper, $1 million in sales tax if it is all completed. Just how much has been promised to give away, and what does it leave the city after you say we're going to get $1 million? There's not enough time to say all, so maybe the reporter will do a comparison article on this and how much the city has promised to give away. Because there was quite a few articles. We bought quite a bit of property for this Metrolink over there at the Shield Street development. This is a two-sided story, not just look good in print with the $1 million that you say we're going to get. We ain't even going to get a fourth of that. It will all be given back.
Who's next, sir? I believe you had your hand up back here.
Brian Barnard with Panera Bread, just making myself available to the council if there are any questions about the application, and to also quickly address the question that I'm sure will come up, as it has at the Zoning Board and Plan Commission, about the current downtown cafe. It's actually a separate department than I work in the new construction, but we do have lease term there through the end of May of next year with 2 additional 5-year options available in the downtown location.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Michael Hagberg. I just want to bring you guys back to a memory. A year ago, I was here about the $107,000 that was spent to set up an industrial park, where money was taken from one TIF, transferred to another. We paid to have it plotted, and there was going to be some questions as to what's happening with it, and it took me a couple months to get the answer that it was going to go back to planning. It's been a full year, and I'd rather see this council and this city be working on getting an industrial job in there, or industrial park, where we can get jobs that are manufacturing jobs, skilled, high-paying manufacturing jobs, rather than giving, $38 million to get low-wage service jobs out at the Shrine. It'd be much better for a community and to build a community to get good wage-paying jobs in an industrial park. And we don't hear anything about it. We've just spent a lot of TIF money and said, oh, well, we have to do an update, spend some more money. When is it going to happen? We were told that we needed that and needed to be done in a hurry, because every week we're turning away manufacturing companies from Belleville because we don't have industrial park space for them. Is that true? Is it not true? What's happening? Thank you.
Anyone else this evening? Yes, sir. Now we're complete.
Yeah, I think.
Could you speak into the microphone, Mr. Lanner?
that Shrine project, I think, is a bust. It's gonna end up like that project going into Collinsville. They got some bulldozers and earth movers and churned dirt up for 3 or 4 months, and then they all of a sudden left town owing millions of dollars to everybody. The gun club got kicked out of there, and they finally, after the county tried to sue them for $500 or $600. The county spent $500,000 or $600,000 of the taxpayers' money trying to shut the gun club down, but they finally won their case. Air Force claims they're afraid of a stray bullet, and I sit back on the house in 29th and Godfrey, and they're constantly running this 4-way stop at 29th and Godfrey, and I kept racking my brain to think, what is causing this? Well, today I finally dawned on me. The Democrats are running these stop signs.
Sir.
No,
Okay.
the Republicans are law and order people.
Sir,
It's the
okay. First of all, if they're running a stop sign, we'd all recommend that you call the police.
I do.
Okay, but I don't, this body's not going to listen to your speculation about which people possibly could be running stop signs. I don't believe you have the scientific evidence, nor do we, nor are we gonna, we're not here to diagnose that.
Okay, there's gotta be a reason. I mean, I'm considered a danger to the community, but I don't ever run stop signs, so.
Well, we appreciate that.
I'm a Republican, so what do the police department should be nonpartisan, and Lindenwood should have sprinkling systems installed on all these 55 houses before the students come back. No more than one student car parked on the street per house. They got any more cars, let them park in their driveway or parked on one of these big parking lots the schools got. And they might have to take a 1 or 2 block hike, but I think it might be good exercise for them. At one time, the chief was in favor of concealed carry for people who had permits. I don't know if he still feels that way. And crime in Belleville seems to be increasing. Thank you.
Is there, yes, ma'am.
My name is Kathy Draper. I'm at 500 South 19th Street, Belleville. I just wanted to ask, who is the one that actually determines where the no parking signs go on city streets?
Traffic committee recommends it to this council.
Okay, because on 19th Street from South Belt West to Roosevelt, there's no parking on the west side of the street. Okay, but from Robb Avenue to, from Main Street to Robb Avenue, there's no parking on the west side. But from Robb Avenue to South Belt West, there is parking. And my question is why is there parking on both sides of the street there?
We'd have to look at it. I would say if you want to address this to get it to the traffic committee, I follow you somewhat, but sometimes the decisions have been made over the years because some houses have an alley that they can enter and have off-street parking, some do not. And that's why some of the decisions many years ago was made, but I can't until I
Well, I've
study
heard
it.
from a few people that live in the 200 and 300 block, more than 200 block of South 19th, that they've always parked on the west side, so they're going to continue to, and the signs have been taken down that had originally been up on that side that had no parking, but now they can park on both sides, and it makes it hard in.
Based on your comment here tonight and the city engineer's here, I'm going to ask him at his convenience, because he's got a long list of
Yeah.
things every day, to take
I
a
know,
look at it.
that's not a big deal. I
And
just
if there's-
wanted to know.
If there's something that he feels needs to be brought to the traffic committee agenda, he has the ability to ask that it be put on there, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, we're going to close public participation, and we're going to move on with the regular agenda. Tonight, we have the first thing under presentations, recognition, and appointments. The first thing I have is the character word of the month. This month, the word is fairness, meaning playing by the rules, being open-minded, and not taking advantage. We move on to a presentation by Economic Development Resources, an update on what he has been studying that we requested of Gene Narber of 6401 West Main Street Marketplace Business District Plan. Gene?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, gentlemen. This is the proposed 6401 West Main Business District. West Main is here. This is North 66th Street, a public right-of-way. North 64th Street, a private right-of-way. The area in total is about 6 acres. Last time I addressed council, I put forward our findings regarding the eligibility of this area for designation as a business district. We were then instructed to complete the plan for the business district, and the plan is the material part of the document that you have this evening. Last presentation on the analysis of eligibility appears in the back of the document. The first couple of pages in the plan document have to do with statutory language and requirements and an overview of business districts, but the plan itself really begins on page 6 with the objectives and policies that the city will follow in achieving the objectives. Because the area was found to be eligible and the only eligibility standard in the business district law is one of flight, the objectives are, unsurprisingly, to use the business district and the revenues that can be generated in the district to ameliorate the blighting conditions here and return this area to full vacancy and continue, or actually start again, to generate sales tax revenues for the community. The main private projects that are proposed for the business district include the acquisition of all of this property. All of the 6 acres, with the exception of the public thoroughfares, owned by one entity. And the business district proposes that a developer will acquire the property, demolish, this is the old Mad Pricer and $20 shoe store, which is now vacant, as is a portion of the remainder of the development. Acquire all of this, demolish this back portion of what's called Suite A, because the building itself is obsolete for, for a number of different reasons, including its depth. But the acquisition, the demolition of the back part, the rehabilitation of the entirety of the center, and then the re-tenanting of the vacancies is really what is proposed to be created here. The city has published a request for proposals. There was one proposal received, and in fact, the plan mirrors what the redevelopment proposal is for this proposed business district. Other private improvements on the site will include the rehabilitation of the parking area, the ingress and egress, particularly off of West Main and back in here off of North 66th. One of the problems with the site is the ability to access the rear of the property, and improvements here, fixing this grade, the possibility of putting a light in at West Main, and then ensuring that there remains open access through reciprocal easements on North 64th will serve to address a lot of the accessibility problems that this site has. And the use of business district revenues to fix the non-building site improvements is also important and is part of the private project that's proposed. Public projects are anticipated to include acquisition, if needed, for improvements to the public infrastructure, as well as various soft costs that the city may incur in doing public side work. In Appendix 2 in the report, we've identified the developer, which is the one respondent to the city's request for proposals. That is Sonoma Capital LLC, and we've identified the known commercial tenants in the area, which are Shenanigans Restaurant, Subway, Marco's on Main, and Family Dollar. As part of the plan, we have developed following page 8, the estimated business district project costs. These are costs that may be paid for from the business district revenues. Again, a business district can be in place for up to 23 years, so there is a significant amount of time during which the business district revenues can be generated. And as you may remember, business districts generate revenue through the levying of an additional sales tax proposed here at 1% on all retail sales and restaurant sales made within the district. So over a period of time, significant revenues can be raised, and we've identified what those revenues may be spent on. There is no money that will be generated by this area unless retail sales occur. And so to the extent that the developer can renovate this building, Suite A, fill it up, renovate those other buildings, and fill them with tenants, then the business district revenues will be used to pay the developer, actually reimburse the developer for the costs of the renovation and the partial demolition and the site improvements. We've identified the costs in the business district budget, if you will. Soft costs of $250,000, property assembly and land acquisition of $750,000, site preparation $500,000, public improvements $750,000, and renovation and rehabilitation of the buildings on site at $2.25 million. Again, monies to be generated by the sales, the taxable sales that occur within this district. And so, while I will certainly be happy to answer and address any questions that you have, business districts are the tool that, given the re-tenanting of this space, will be able to generate, again, significant revenues to reimburse the developer for the activities that the developer has proposed. Again, there was one response to the city's request for proposals, Sonoma Capital. The city is working with Sonoma Capital on the documents necessary to bring Sonoma in as the developer. We're moving forward on a parallel track to create the district and create the mechanism to generate revenues that will make this redevelopment possible.
Alderman, do you have any questions for Mr. Narber? Mr. Narber, we thank you. I know we got a motion or two following this in the meeting. Thank you for your presentation, and we appreciate the update. Okay, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on to some appointments. And it's up to you all. We can take them line by line, or if you have no objections, I can make a request for a motion to approve the following individuals for these various committees. Basically, I believe they all have been currently serving. So does anybody have a problem?
I'll make a motion to do them all at once.
Well, okay, let me read them off, then we'll do the motion. If nobody objects, I'm gonna read them all at once, okay? No objections? So my recommendation to you for the following committees for reappointment. Historic Preservation Committee, and I'm not gonna read, you look in your packet, some are based on when they're due, some are balanced as far as rotation, some are a one-year term, some are by the ordinance. So I'm just gonna say based on the following. Andy Gah, Ryan Wallace, John Hunter, Jack Lachine, and Douglas Luna are my recommendations for reappointment to the Historic Preservation Committee. I believe those are all a one-year term. I'm also recommending a reappointment to the following members of the Planning Commission: James Kurtz, Larry McLean, and Art Jacobs. A reappointment to the following Board of Police and Fire Commission: Russell Scott, who currently has been serving as chairman for years, Terry Delaney, and Linda Fields. I also additionally recommend for downtown redevelopment John Conkright and Chuck Blankard, And for the Zoning Board of Appeals, Rebecca Boyer and Tony Togus. Do I hear a motion to approve those? Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Kinsella. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion's carry. At this time, the approval of the city council minutes from May 16th. What's your pleasure? Motion by Alderman Wiggington, second by Alderman Ovian to accept and file. Any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approval and filing the minutes for, to be reviewed, I have them on file, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We move on to the claims, payroll, and disbursements. I'd ask for a motion to pay the claims and disbursements in the amount of $8,327,775.80, and the payroll in the amount of $889,850.07. Do I hear a motion? Motion by Alderman Anthony, second by Alderman Pusa. Discussion on the claims or payroll? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. I'd ask for a motion to receive and file for audit the treasurer's report, statement of cash and investment report of April 2016. Do I hear a motion? Everybody jump at once. Motion by Alderman Hazel, second by Alderman Kinsella. Do I hear any discussion on treasurer's report? All in favor of accepting and filing for audit signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Oral reports. We have a motion request coming from the Park Board to approve and proceed and research the process of establishing a park foundation for the betterment and future development of our park system. Let me just say this in a nutshell. We've talked about this, Debbie Belleville and Jason Poole and I, and Jamie. We've had this conversation. Occasionally, as you know, even from Bicentennial a number of years ago when the trust of the couple at that time, for example, gave a donation. Putting in a foundation, they would be much clearer, much safer, much more maybe desirable as far as a tax exemption. We believe it might help encourage donations or bequests for park trails and parks and bike trails. And we realize that this is something that we're probably long overdue on. And so at this time, we'd just like your approval to move forward with the research. This isn't the official final word tonight, but we don't want to spend this time if you all are not supporting the movement in this direction. So I'd ask for a motion to approve that request. Motion by Alderman Dittelman, second. Second by Alderman Seibert. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Debbie, would you mind just expanding a little bit about, what this could possibly do?
Well, the reason why we're asking for permission is you have to get a nonprofit, make it nonprofit corporation, and you have to get a 501c3. And a lot of people need that to be a charitable gift donor and have individuals. And it could be a way for future planning in the park system for some goals, possibly pool, complex, extra trails. So there's a lot of things that you can give, and it's separated from the city, and it is just its own foundation. Does that help?
Thanks, appreciate it.
Any other questions of Debbie? We have a motion and we have a second to give the city and the Parks Board and the City of Belleville staff permission to proceed forward with this possibility. If there's no further questions, I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. Next, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the facility use agreement between the City of Belleville and Little Knights Football Club. Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Dittelman. Let me just say that I was asking, we've talked about this, we've been working together and I found out tonight, you guys, I was reminded tonight, I knew it, you've been there for almost 10 years, using the facility. And this just, we sat down with Mr. Harner. If the facility agreement you have in front of you, gentlemen, ladies, is been carefully looked at by their organization, and legal counsel, our city council and staff and the park board. And, this, J.C. Park, it's always been the intention to use it for youth and to see programs like this. These have been going on. This just solidifies it, makes it a little bit more binding, a little bit more, extends it into a more official capacity for games now, besides just the practice fields, right, guys? And we, the staff and the park board, feel strong that this is the right thing to do for that park. And like I said, they've tested this and been working on this, and we've been kind of working out the bugs on it for many years. So, is there any other questions? Then we have a motion and a second. I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. We will get together and sign these agreements and move forward. At this time, we move down to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one this evening. I'd ask the clerk to please read it.
Case 19, May of 16, Jesse Trent, Quality Home Furnishings, a request for a sign installation for area of special control in order to place one 10x4 flush-mounted sign and one sandwich board sign at 22 East Main Street, located in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Mr. White?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman White, second by Alderman Seibert. Discussion. All in favor and have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Case 20.
Go ahead, next one. Sorry.
Case 20, May of 16, Afton Shambro, request for special use permit in order to utilize the property as a multifamily residence at 2437 Eastview Drive, located in C2 heavy commercial district.
And you got down here, the zoning board recommended that one. Right. It's on your thing. Okay, do we hear a motion?
Yes.
Motion by Alderman Kinsella to approve, follow the zoning board's recommendation. Do I hear a second? I hear a second. Second by Alderman Hazel. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I wonder if the party's here, because I have some questions regarding the multifamily residence. Is somebody here representing
Yeah, Mr. Shambro's here.
Mr. Shambro? Ms. Shambro? Do you own other property in the area? Just your home?
And she lives near there.
Okay. All right, so you are near this particular residence? Rather, you are near this particular property? Yes, I am. All right. This particular property, how many apartments will be there in that?
2 efficiency apartments.
Okay. Will those basically be for people who work, or how will that be set up?
Basically for single adults that work full-time.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second to approve the zoning board and have the proper ordinance drawn. If there's no further questions, I'd ask for, well, you read it all.
Yeah.
So if there's no further questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve this and read by title only.
We have a motion.
We have a motion. I ask for a vote to please, all in favor of having this approved and have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I got caught up in all the questions here.
Case 21, May of 16, Panera LLC, request for a special use permit for outdoor seating and dining for Panera Bread Restaurant at 5801 Belleville Crossing, located in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion was by Alderman Wigington, second by Alderman Musgrove to approve this recommendation from the zoning board and have the proper ordinance drawn. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor and have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Case 22, May of 16, Jarrell Hall, a request for a use variance in order to allow storage of a commercial vehicle associated with the home occupation at the residence of 7308 Foley Drive, located in an A2 two-family residence district.
I would like to make a motion that we deny this request. The zoning board itself denied it.
So you are wanting to make sure, your motion is to deny the request and echoing the zoning board's denial.
Yes.
We have a motion by Alderman Musgrove, second by Alderman Wigington. Discussion. Yes, sir.
What is this? Can somebody tell me what it is? I mean,
Anissa, can you hear any of this? They're asking about the case, Gerald Hall, and they're asking Alderman,
Mr. Hall owns a towing company, and he has a home occupation in order to do paperwork. He received citation because he was parking his commercial vehicle at his home, and so he sought a variance for relief from that requirement of the home occupation where there could be no commercial activity on the site. So the zoning board recommended denial, and it's before you tonight, furthering the request.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
one more thing also. The neighbors had a letter that they gave to the zoning board that they were against him parking that vehicle out there.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second by the alderman of the ward to deny, as the zoning board's vote also was of the same accordance. So if there's no further question on this one here, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Okay, the motion to deny has been approved, and that stops that request. We move on now to the next one.
Case 23, May 16, Eric Weebles, a request to rezone the property at 311 Avenue from a A2 two-family residence district to C2 heavy commercial district.
Gentlemen?
I have a stipulation. I'll make a motion that we approve with some stipulations.
Okay, you want to spell out the stipulations? Then we'll see if you get a second for those stipulations.
During the zoning board meeting, quite a few neighbors showed up that were not in favor of this, and initially, I was not in favor of it either. After the zoning board meeting, the neighbors met with the property owner and agreed to the following stipulations, making changes to permitted uses under a C2. So with that in mind, I'm in favor of it. So I make a motion to approve with the following stipulations. Regard to zoning code applicable to Division 8 C2 heavy commercial, 66-49 permitted uses be limited to offices as follows, as listed in 6649, service establishments of all types, and any other building, use, or service similar to the uses herein listed in the types of services or goods valid. All other uses listed under 6649 are to be excluded.
We have a second. We have a second, accepting those stipulations as just stated. And Mr. Harder, okay, city attorney says that is okay to do it that way. It's spelled out. Does anybody else here have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
What is in the property right now?
It's empty little building right now. It's a small empty building. For many years, it's been a hair salon. I think when it first started, first people who had it, I think they had a donut shop there back in the 50s. What I was told. I was pretty little. So it's been a variety of things, but hair care has been probably the majority over the years. So we have a motion and we have a second with the stated stipulations. With that being said, if there's no further questions, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on this one too, because it's kind of spelled out a little different.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
And of course, all of you understand that included to have the proper ordinance drawn. Motion carries.
Case 24, May of 16, Lacey Lumber, request for a sign installation for area of special control in order to place one 18x2 flush mounted sign at 319 East Main Street located in a C2 heavy commercial district.
Motion by Alderman Pusa. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Elmore. Do I hear discussion on this?
I have a question.
Yes.
The construction's already been going on, I mean, of the sign. Is that proper for them to be already doing the sign before this meeting?
They did, I know, a roof and all that. Was the sign going up already?
I saw Sikorsky out there.
Huh?
I saw Sikorsky out there.
I didn't see any sign going up unless it went up today.
It was prep work.
Prep work? Well,
I'm just curious if we gave them pre-authorization or something.
I don't think so. I think sometimes contractors get a little edgy dealing with weather, and they shouldn't, but I wasn't aware. I know they put a new roof on it. I know stuff like that occurred in the front, but I did not go by and notice the sign started today. So we have a motion and a second to proceed with this. The zoning board did approve this. Any further discussions to have this approved and have the proper ordinance drawn? All in favor then signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We move on to, I'm asking for a motion to accept the 6401 West Main Street Marketplace Business District Plan, placing it on file and making it available for public inspection. Motion by Alderman Consilla, second by Alderman Anthony. Discussion on that motion? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to adopt an ordinance approving a business district plan and designation of a business district and fixing a time and place for a public hearing date for 6401 West Main Street Marketplace Business District on Monday, July 18th, 2016 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Ovian, second by Alderman Anthony. To hear any discussion pertaining to that? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the site plan, landscape plan, and architectural elevations for Panera Bakery and Cafe located at 5801 Belleville Crossing. Motion by Alderman White, second by Alderman Tyler. Do I hear discussion? Yes, sir.
We're going to include what the planning commission recommended.
Oh, I'm sorry, your small print there. Included in this motion, then, if you guys are okay with that, is the Planning Commission recommends approval 8-0 with the stipulation that what's that called? Full window and awnings and lighting to be placed on the south elevation of the building facing State Route 15 side of the building. Does everybody follow that? You were there for the presentation. You're well aware, sir? Okay, that is included with the motion. Any further comment or suggestion? I will ask for a roll call vote on this motion.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. Have a motion from the Police and Fire to approve their recommendation, Police and Fire Commission, to approve their recommendation for the promotion of Lieutenant Matt Eiskamp to Captain, effective June 25th, 2016 at 12:01 a.m. Yes, sir. Motion and a second by Alderman Anthony. Any discussion on the first motion? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. At this time, from the Police and Fire Commission, I'd ask for a motion to approve the promotion of Chris Mattingly from officer to sergeant, effective June 25th, 2016 at 12:01 a.m.
So moved.
Motion by Randall, second by Galletti. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. Jamie, I'm going to ask you to come forward and just give a brief beginning statements about the next couple motions, and that might help answer some questions as we ask for the motion to move this forward.
Okay, about a month ago, the council approved moving forward with having MX LLC perform reverse auctions on our electricity supply and natural gas supply for our city-owned accounts. Those reverse auctions were performed today. The results were handed out to you before the meeting. They had to be done in 3 separate auctions, just one natural gas, one kind of a bridge contract to get us through to the end of our large contract, and then a large contract starting in April. The results are before you. For the first motion, the low bidder for the bridge agreement is USG&E. For a 9-month term, the rate was 5.29 cents per kilowatt hour, which is projected to save us versus the Ameren tariff rate of approximately $20,800 over the 9-month term of that contract. The second motion is for the main contract. The low bidder in that reverse auction was Constellation Energy for a 36-month term. That's what administration is recommending. You can see several different terms were bid, but locking a rate in for 3 years at 5.715 cents per kilowatt hour versus the Ameren tariff rate of almost 6.3 cents is a projected savings of $183,000 over the life of that term. The last one is for the natural gas. That contract can't go into effect until May 2017, as that's the only time Ameren will turn over any natural gas supply to a different supplier. The low bidder in that contract was Constellation Energy for 36 months at 39.902 cents per therm. And as compared to Ameren's tariff rate, that should save us approximately $19,000 over the term of that contract.
Before, yes, sir.
Jamie, explain reverse auction.
Okay. In a normal bidding situation, we send out RFPs and the bidders would submit sealed bids for each of the terms, and then we'd open them and see who was the lowest bid. In a reverse auction, it's live. I was kind of linked into the results as they were happening. People turn in bids, everyone can see it, so they kind of fight to get the lowest bid, and people keep underbidding the other till someone finally says, okay, we're done. So
It's kind of like a live auction.
right, it works a little bit better to get a lower rate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And the Constellation Energy, we didn't go for the 48, and we're opting for the 36 because of that ever so slightly.
Right. Staff is recommending 36 months. We typically haven't gone out more than 3 years on an electricity contract. Talking with the consultants there, that was their recommendation, is probably the best rate was at the 36 months.
Okay, yes, sir. Well, okay, I'm gonna, do you have a, yes, sir? Well, that's what I was just gonna ask you. Do you have a problem if do you have any other questions, first of all, and any reason to do them all separate? Jamie watched this very carefully. She's certainly watching out for our dollars to get the best bang for the buck. So if there's no objections, I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the low bid for the electricity supply for the certain city-owned property accounts under a bridge contract going into effect July 2016 as the result of the reverse auction performed by MX LLC on June 6th today, 2016. Additional to that motion, I'd ask for a motion to approve the low bid for electricity supply for certain city-owned accounts under a main electricity load contract going into effect in April 2017 as a result of a reverse auction performed by MX LLC on June 6, 2016. Continuing with that, I'd also ask for a motion, included in that motion, to approve a low bid for natural gas supply for certain city-owned accounts under a contract going into effect in May 2017 as a result of a reverse auction performed by MX LLC on June 6, 2016. What's your pleasure? Okay, motion to approve those three recommendations, and I hear a second. That's by Hazel, second by Tyler. Discussion now, anything further? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let me just, I talked to most of the aldermen, and you had a chance to ask questions. There's a couple of you couldn't make it by my office to just kind of bring you up to speed. This is the next motion I'm going to be asking for is the public building phase 2 for City Hall renovations. And I just want to say as kind of a quick overview, as you know, as we said from the very beginning when we talked about the financing packages and everything that we've done thus far, the purpose of City Hall, which is, we're packing up now, action's being taken. You've approved the move, you've approved where they're moving to. Anissa moved today, or pretty well moved today. But just a reminder, City Hall's purpose of renovations are number one, ADA improvements to make this building finally handicap accessible. The building behind us will come down where Chief Clay is still currently in for a few more days. That will make it possible for Mr. Hendricks with the architecture's design to get us to have accessibility from the west side of City Hall. There'll be new doors on the east and west side of the lobby. The revolving door that's on the west side will come out. We will keep the one on the Washington Street side for nostalgia's sake because we already have steps. We couldn't meet it anyway. We're going to do asbestos abatement throughout the whole building. And if you look right up here above this, right about above Debbie Belleville approximately, the ceiling tile fell out last summer when the air condition got very full of condensation, and those tiles are full of asbestos. The floor tiles throughout the whole building are full of asbestos, and some of them in some places are buckling and cracking. So we're going to remove ADA is the first part of the package. We're going to make ADA bathrooms and accessible, sidewalks, front entrance, rear exit entrance. We're going to make some new bathrooms, and we're going to take the current bathrooms we have upstairs and down on the north wing and make them handicap accessible. We're going to make the city council chambers first and foremost the asbestos abatement. Secondly, we're going to put in a second door over here in this corner going out to the parking lot that now is where the detectives park. We've been wanting to do that. Bill Clay and I talked about that from 2008 on when the terrible situation happened in Kirkwood. We needed a second egress in this room, and we've just been waiting for the right time to spend the money. We're going to make this room a little bigger. We're going to have a balcony upstairs. We've listened to the historic preservation people, and we're recommending in the motion tonight that we talked to all of you about. The chairs the aldermen are sitting in will be reupholstered and saved. They were designed by Charles King's Furniture, just like we saved the one up in the mayor's console room. We reupholstered those several years ago. They're great. They sit well. We're going to save quite a few of the benches that, while we don't allow smoking, still have the nostalgic ashtrays in the back. But we're going to reupholster them and use them in the mezzanine upstairs so that we're getting some use out of that historic. The rest of it will have some new seating. There's some safety features. There's some ballistic material on the windows and on the front of the area here. So if there, heaven forbid, would ever be a shooter situation, that the aldermen and the staff had some place to possibly, depending on who was involved, get behind. Mark and Kenny, that's yes, sir. New lights, the new lighting, because when you take out all these asbestos-filled ceiling tile, many of these lights are very old and they're not efficient. So we're going to LED lighting. We're going for more efficiency, and we're going to paint. But we're not getting new office furniture. There'll be some new stuff in here as far as the alderman's desk, and we'll keep the chairs, but we're going to have some new areas for that. But we're being as frugal as we can be. We're keeping to the best of our ability to honor and keep the Charles King architecture in this building that's 60 years old next year. But these things, we have to do ADA, we have to get this asbestos abated, and we have to make some of these safety improvements. And this has already been approved by budget, but we showed you some of the materials, some of the design look, and what I'm asking for right now is a motion to approve the public building improvements for Phase 2 for the Belleville City Hall renovations. Do I hear a motion? Motion by Alderman Consilla, second by Alderman Seibert. Do I hear discussions? Okay, roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Dentelman.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm going to take 1 second liberty before he leaves here. Mark Hendricks is here from Impact Strategy, who we hired some time ago, and who his firm has been working with Kenny Vaughn and the architect and the engineering firm Kaskaskia on the Belleville Police Department. Alderman, you got a flyer tonight that the open house is set as you approved at the last meeting for June 25th, a Saturday, 10 a.m. ribbon cutting. Open house will go till 4 o'clock that day. The police department is coming along fabulously. Mark, we thank you. You guys have helped us be a watchdog on our funds, saved us a lot of money at different times when you've caught things and watched on things, and we look forward to the same working relationship in the police station. And just as a quick reminder, I told you Anissa moved out today, the clerk and treasurer on the 20th, 21st, right in there. They're going to be moving to 512 West Main. And then after the open house on starting the 27th, the mayor's office, the finance office, and our web master and marketing person, we will move to 720 West Main to the 3rd floor, where the chief's got a little extra space to grow in. They're going to let us slide in there for that period. We hope to be back in here with a ribbon cutting for a rededication of this facilities right about the 2nd week of January. Now, got to be a little flexibility. Weather plays a part, but we believe that will give. We don't want to, even if they were early, we don't really want to move the week of Christmas. So we would probably be shooting for the 2nd week of January. Now, the last thing I'll say before I call for the vote. Please watch the website, the newspaper. I'm going to sit and talk with them again. We've published it, we've advertised it, we'll post it. But for all the changes in meeting locations, they're spelled out. If you have any questions, any of you, contact my office. We will get you the information by email, by print, whatever you need. But the changes start, we'll have one more council meeting in here, and we'll have one more zoning board meeting in here. And then City Hall will be closed for at least 6 months as far as meetings in this facility at South Illinois here. So with those statements and explanations, if there's no further thoughts that came up, questions, roll call.
We already voted on that.
We did vote it.
Yeah.
It's all, everybody voted on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on 11G1.
All righty. I'm glad I got caught up in that.
Very good this evening.
What's that?
The air conditioner works great.
Mr. Vaughn noted. And you're going to get a new one in the building, and new roof. The roof hopefully will quit dripping. Okay, we move forward now to the Master Sewer Committee. Mr. Diddleman, I'd ask for a motion you have. There's 2 of them, I believe. Anybody object if we do them together? Royce?
There should be a correction on both of them. One is that's not an estimate, that's a change order on the first one.
Okay.
And this is for $43,869.90. And the pay request number 3 is not from Gonzalez, it's from Blocker Construction.
Okay. Does everybody understand those 2 comments and note that on your list? At this time, Mr. Diddleman, will make a motion for those 2?
I would. On behalf of the Master Sewer Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Missionary Ventures Force Main change order in an amount of $43,863.90. And on
$69, I believe. Would you say, Royce? 69.
69, sorry. And for the second change on G2, motion to approve pay request number 3 for the Blocker Company in an amount of $173,360.04. Excuse me.
Motion by Alderman Diddleman. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Wiggington. Do I hear discussion? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa. Bittner.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dentelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion's carry. Communications, would you want to, is anybody opposed to reading them together? Okay.
12A, communication from Ples Griffin, along with Soul Soul Band, requesting to perform at the Courtyard at East Main and North Church Street on Sunday, June 26, 2016, beginning at 1 p.m. and ending at 5 p.m., requesting the city to block off the areas of North Church Street from East Main to the alley, also requesting electricity, which is needed for the band for their equipment. 12B, communication from Lindenwood University Belleville, requesting to hold a homecoming parade on Saturday, October 22, 2016. Parade lineup beginning at 8:30 a.m. at St. Mary's parking lot, and parade beginning at 10 a.m., concluding no later than 11 a.m. Parade will begin at the corner of 17th Street, heading west on West Main Street toward the campus, ending in the parking lot just west of the campus tennis courts. 12C, communication from American Cancer Society, requested permission to paint the town purple. They are requesting to decorate the downtown streets with purple bows and display some 24 by 20 yard signs with information about the Relay for Life of Belleville. They are also requesting permission to have a Relay for Life banner hung over Main Street as you enter downtown Belleville. The materials will be displayed on July 9, 2016 to July 17, 2016. 12D, communication from ChiroMed, requesting permission to hold their 7th annual Get Up and Go Biathlon and 6th annual Main Street Mile on January 21st, 2017, starting and finishing at Lindenwood University, Belleville. They are requesting 2 police officers. 12E, communication from Tavern of Maine, requesting to use the courtyard at East Main and North Church Street on Saturday, August 20th, 2016, beginning at 5 p.m. and ending at 11 p.m. for the class of 1971 reunion, requesting the city to block off the areas of North Church Street from East Main to the alley.
Before I entertain a motion, I'd like to state, going back to 12C, I talked with the Cancer Society. First of all, they're no longer requesting a banner. That was a mistake. That's for the city of Collinsville, the request. And the yard signs, when I ask them more specific, they're not sure if that's for Belleville or not. They're going to get back with me. I told them if they go on private property, they have to have permission from those people. If they're requesting some city property, they have to spell out what they want, and we'd have to take a look at to make sure it would be that staff would, give us. But they're not talking many of them, and they're not even sure that request actually is for Belleville either. They're doing this whole promotion throughout the whole region. So with that adjustment, do I have a motion to approve those? Jim?
Can I make one small correction? I just now noticed on 12D, it says, this is a little thing, but it says 7th annual Get Up and Go Biathlon and 6th annual Main Street Mile. Those are 2 different events. It should read 7th annual ChiroMed Winter Luau. They also help with the biathlons. That got confused. That's already been approved for August.
So this is just the ChiroMed we're approving?
Right.
I didn't catch that. Good guy.
Yeah.
So Get Up and Go is not involved in this one?
Correct.
Okay. Duly noted. Do I hear a motion to approve the communications that were just read? Alderman Galetti, second by Alderman Tyler. Discussion. All in favor of approving these communications as stated with the corrections that we noted, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I show no petitions this evening, no resolutions. I'd ask for a motion to read by title only ordinances number 7955, 7956, 7957, 7958, 7959. We need to hold 7960 to the next meeting because our city attorney just advised that those adjustments from the those statements from the zoning board conditions were not written into the ordinance. So everybody approved the motion, but I'd ask you to hold 7960. I also ask you to approve 7961 and 7962. Do I hear a motion to approve those ordinances and read them by title only?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Silsby, second by Galetti. Any discussion on those comments? Pardon?
As a group.
As a group? All in favor to read by title only and as a group signify by saying aye, holding that one ordinance. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
15.8 ordinance number 7955 of 2016, ordinance proposing the approval of business district plan and designation of a business district and fixing a time and place for a public hearing on the proposals to approve a business district plan and designate a business district. 15B ordinance 7956 of 2016, ordinance amending chapter 52 of the traffic code of the revised ordinances of the city of Belleville, Illinois, as amended by amending portions of sections thereof. 15C ordinance number 7957, a zoning ordinance in regard to case number 19 of May 16, Jesse Trent Quality Home Furnishings. 15D ordinance number 7958, 2016, a zoning ordinance in regard to case number 20, May 16, Afton Shambro. 15E ordinance number 7959 of 2016, a zoning ordinance in regard to case number 21, May 16, Panera LLC. 15F ordinance number 7961 of 2016, a zoning ordinance in regard to case number 24, May 16, Lacey Lumber. 15G ordinance 7962 of 2016, ordinance amending ordinance 7935 of 2016, designating banks as depositories for city funds.
Motion to approve ordinance 7955, 7956, 7957, 7958, 7959, 7961, 7962. So moved.
Motion by Alderman Silsby. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Ovian. Do I hear discussion? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Dintelman.
Aye.
Seibert. White. Galletti.
Aye.
Elmore.
Aye.
Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Those ordinances pass. We have any unfinished business? Miscellaneous and new business. I'd ask for a motion to approve the motor fuel claims in the amount of $2,575.08. Mr. Seibert makes the motion. Do I hear a second? Alderman White. Do I hear discussion? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dendelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussion of collective bargaining, coming out that we could have a possible motion to approve the contract. Motion by Alderman Kinsella. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Pusa. Discussion. All in favor of going into executive session for those stated reasons signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So do I hear Kenny, Jim, and Jamie, please stay put. Yes, I don't know the second one here. I just showed it to me. What is that? I don't know what she's asking. Is that stuff on there's no clear. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in open session. As stated before we went into executive session, that there was a possibility of one motion dealing with approval of a successor collective bargaining agreement. So at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve a successor collective bargaining agreement between the Service Workers Local number 116 and the city in Belleville for 2015, this is retroactive 1 year, to 2019, which contemplates annual salary increases of 2%, 2%, 2%, and that last year of 3%. And the other stated as we went through with those few minor change, or I say relatively minor adjustments, as was stated to all of you and explained in the contract that you have. Do I hear a motion to approve the recommendation? Alderman Wigington, do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Pusa. Do I hear any discussion on this proposed contract settlement? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dendelman. Seibert. White. Galletti. Elmore. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Okay, just before I call for adjournment, a motion, just a reminder, as I stated earlier, we're just starting to move. Please help us encourage to residents and to all of us, be patient. This is unique to everybody here at City Hall. Today was the very first, smallest, probably the smallest one for Kenny's department and all the people involved. And it's going to take a little patience, so we don't pretend to have everything, but they worked hard, and we think we're going to be fine. But it's going to take a little adjustment to, we're still working on getting some signage tweaked, the temporary signs. But if anybody sees something that is a good suggestion that might help us, save us from stubbing our toes, please contact us. But things are, the green light is on and the move is starting as of today, the first phase. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Galletti. Do I hear a second? Second by Jane. Do I hear any discussion? All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye. Aye. If you're opposed, you can stay.